Backrooms is the feature directorial debut of Kane Parsons, the person responsible for creating the hit YouTube phenomenon, the Backrooms series. And with this film, it tells a story of a man named Clark and his therapist Mary. Clark is a man down on his luck who owns a furniture store, but he ends up finding a world through the wall that he phases through in his showroom that leads to the Backrooms area. All yellow rooms, office space looking setting, unsure about what's going on there because there's stuff phasing through the walls and there's stuff that appears to be stuff from the real world. And yeah, there's monsters and stuff in there too. And then there's this company that's investigating the Backrooms area. And I don't know the lore of the Backrooms all too much. I've seen one or two videos of it on YouTube, and I thought it was interesting enough for those short clips. My initial skepticism going into the film was that it's this guy who, of course, created the world, so he knows the world better than anyone else, but he has to create a feature narrative out of it. Something longer than the 10-minute clips or whatever, however long they are on YouTube. And I'm just going to say it, I didn't like this movie. I found very little to enjoy in it. And it's not because of the age of the director. I think anyone of any age could create a good movie. It's just that you're doing something so vastly different. I was just unsure about how strong the narrative was going to be. And yeah, I didn't think the film had a strong narrative. I didn't think there were many strong aspects of this film outside of the production. I felt like the music did a lot of the heavy lifting for making these scenes seem more scary and stuff. What did I like about this film? I'll get that out of the way. I like the Foley work. When we're in the found footage settings and our characters are walking through, hard floor or carpets or tiles and stuff, you can hear the footsteps sounding different. So I thought that was a nice detail. I like the production of the film. I think the film looks really damn good, both in the found footage setting and in the regular world setting. And just the production of the Backrooms world is so damn cool. Just having all of these vastly different looking rooms that all look so damn similar too, and all this weird architecture and geometry. And the cast, I think the cast all does a pretty damn good job with what they're given. Our main leads, Chiwetel Ejiofor and Renat Reinsve, I think they elevate this seemingly underwhelming script. If it wasn't for them, I think the film would be much worse. And I went into this film wanting to like it so damn bad. I wasn't excited for the film. Upon its initial announcement, I was thinking, okay, it's a YouTube series, all found footage. It's a young guy. Is he going to make a strong enough narrative? Is he going to make it different? Is he going to do too much explaining? Is he going to do not enough explaining? I mean, I'm so happy that there are these young filmmakers out there getting all the success that they're getting. Curry Barker with Obsession, Kane Parsons with Backrooms. These are massive hits, and everyone's talking about them. I just wish that this was a better film. After I saw Backrooms, I went to go see Obsession for a second time because I needed a palate cleanser and I needed something actually spooky and scary. I wasn't scared by this. I didn't think this film was scary at all. And the pacing. I didn't like the pacing. I thought the film was too slow. I like the initial setup. When we have Clark and Mary in their therapy session and we see Clark down on his luck in his furniture store, I like that setup. But everything else after that I thought was really damn slow. And, getting to the Backrooms too, I thought was very slow too. I thought, okay, why is it taking so long to get there? And then when we do get to the Backrooms stuff, I don't really understand if our characters have all too much of a connection to it. Especially Clark. His initial connection to the Backrooms, discovering it and mapping it all out and his being intrigued by it. I thought that was interesting, but on a deeper level, I really don't know how much of a connection he really has to the Backrooms. Mary, I understand more, but outside of her connection to the Backrooms, I feel like she isn't all too much of a character. Like, Clark has more character than Mary, but Mary has more of a connection to the Backroom than Clark does. So it's weird. It's weird. The score to the film, I thought, did most of the heavy lifting of trying to create, more scary vibes. Of course, the look of the film in the found footage setting obviously creates an unsettling vibe because it's these older cameras. The film takes place in the 90s and nothing looks sharp and crisp in there. It looks old as dirt. So when you see these weird things like these creatures and stuff and places that aren't well lit. Of course, it creates a creepy atmosphere. But when we see them later on in non-found footage sections, I think they look kind of goofy. And not most of the creatures. There's one creature I think that just looks goofy and dumb, and it's kind of more laughable than scary to me. The size of it can be intimidating, but the look of it just looks kind of dumb. And I know it plays into the back rooms and stuff. The way they explain it is that when people go into the back rooms remembers these people and it tries to recreate them. And I don't remember when it says if you keep going to the back rooms, it remembers you more and more, so it makes more of a, clear copy of you. But with the monster that's shown at the end, I don't know. I don't know. It's just kind of weird. I don't know. It just doesn't look all too scary to me. It looks goofy. I saw this film on Saturday. It is now Thursday morning. And the more I think about the film, the more frustrated I get because of the lack of answers, the lack of explanation. And I don't want to be spoon-fed in movies, but when you're creating a film that more people than the people who watch the backroom stuff are going to see, I think you should have a little bit more explanation, at least. Like I said, I don't want the film to be dumbed down, but to me, I think most people who like this film are just saying, dude, Backrooms. You know that clip from the people react to the Lion King trailer and the guy goes, dude, Pride Rock.
Wow, dude, Pride Rock.
I think that's what most of this film is when people say they enjoyed it, because they enjoy seeing the Backrooms in a movie. I don't know, man. I feel like I got more of my Backrooms kick out of Exit 8 earlier this year. I think that's a better Backrooms movie than the Backrooms is. I'll get into spoilers because there are a few things I want to talk about, but I'm not going to spend all too much time on it. I spent 30 minutes talking about Obsession. I don't want to spend that much time talking about this movie because I didn't like it. So I'm going to get into brief spoilers because I don't want to spend too much time on this movie, and I want to talk about other movies later on down the line. So click to this time in the video if you want to skip to the end of this review. That's your warning. Getting to the spoilers. 3, 2, 1, let's go. Clark's past is that he has an ex who he paid to go to college. He's an architect, but he works at this furniture store. He comes home late. He yells at his ex, and he gets kicked out of the house, and that's why he lives at the furniture store. And I like his character. I like his character because, he's a down-on-his-luck guy trying to make the most out of what he has. You don't see more of his abusiveness until later on in the film, how he was actually a bad partner. He keeps going back into the back rooms. He keeps mapping it out. Of course, there's obviously a big time difference from the first time he goes in the back rooms to when he meets Mary again for their next therapy session, because he has more of a map of the back rooms. And he takes his 2 workers into the back rooms to show that he's not crazy. And I like those sections, the found footage sections. There's this point in the film where I forget the guy character who gets the camera. He goes down this weird slope trying to see what's down there. He gets pulled up, and then they all get pulled down. And then when they get pulled down, you slightly see his body being dragged into like this weird little door slip, and you see all this blood being dragged on the floor. Yeah, it's interesting and spooky enough. Our characters get separated, and then Clark sees this wall, but he hears the girl. I forget those 2 characters' names. They're a couple. They live together. And he sees this wall, but he hears the girl, and the girl saying, "Oh my God, can you see me? Get out of here. That thing's after us." Clark sets down the camera, and it looks out at them. And then it leads to this moment where the camera gets picked up. And I thought, okay, someone else is there. Maybe it's the monster. Maybe it's the people researching it. And then you see the camera, get risen up in the air. And then you think, okay, it's a monster. Whatever this monster is, it's really tall. And it creates this, oh my God, it's this tall monster. It's going to get them. It would be a nice moment if it wasn't for Clark conveniently placing the camera down so it sees Clark in this wide area. Just seems like a very convenient thing to create a spooky seeming moment that I didn't find spooky, because I'm like, okay, wow, like that convenient moment. Okay. Mary's past is that she was a girl who was trapped in her house. Her schizophrenic mother never wanted to let her out. She tried looking through the windows and opening the door, but her mother kept telling her, no, don't go out there because the things are after us. That plays into her character as a therapist, where she's telling people to look through the window, look through the world and see yourself and see the outside world and stuff. And yeah, it's interesting enough, and it plays into Clark's character. I can understand that seeming connection to the Backrooms area. You want to look into this unknown world out there. But outside of that, Mary doesn't seem to have all too much of a character. That's all it seems like she's there for. She carries around this handprint concrete. This is concrete of her handprint from her house that was demolished, and she said, okay, I'm gonna take this with me. She takes it with her to the back room for some reason. I don't know why. Also, when Clark gets introduced to the back rooms, it's an interesting moment because that's our first time seeing it outside of the introduction of the film. But then when Mary goes into the back rooms, it's basically the same scene, just again. At least have it be different enough, like have everything changed so that when we see it, we're not just seeing the same scene again. Yeah, it's the first time Mary's seeing it, but when we're seeing it again, it seems so repetitive. It's like we're watching the same scene happen again. So the big moment in the film is that of the ending scene of Clark and Mary reuniting in the back rooms. And Clark makes Mary pass out, and he has her tied up, and they have an impromptu therapy session where they're doing the role play session that they did before, where she is playing his ex and he is playing himself. And there's this weird moment where there's this I guess they call them still beings in the film, where it's these people that the back rooms, because the back rooms remembers people that go in there, and then it recreates them, but it doesn't do it all too properly. I guess it depends on how much time people go in the back rooms, how much time they spend in there, how many times they keep going back in there. So people are saying that this character that he scalped and put the hair on Mary is his wife. Because when the monster character, which is actually the pirate character that Clark plays for his furniture store, because they say that when the monster comes up, the ex character runs to the corner seemingly scared. My issue with that is, did the ex character go to the back rooms? Did Clark bring her there? We don't get explanation on that, because if the ex character didn't go in the back rooms, then there should just be 7 billion people in the back rooms area or something like that, or there should be way more people in the back rooms area. Or because then there's also these other characters. We see this little person in a wheelchair. We see this other guy, and they all have these weird faces because the backrooms remembers them differently or something. And they feel no pain. I guess Clark says you can eat them because they feel no pain. And then you see the girl character who is his worker at the store. You see her head decapitated in a fridge, and it's implied that either he killed her or the creature killed her. Does she have a copy of herself in there? Does the guy who went with them have a copy of himself there? How come we don't see them? I like the therapy session that they have with each other. What's funny is that a lot of people say their issue with the script is that of the dialogue. I didn't think the dialogue was that bad in the film, because it brings about, and I didn't think it was bad, and it brings about the issues of Clark and his past. That being him wanting to be in control, especially of his past relationship, and he feels like he's in control of himself in the backrooms area. He feels like no one can, yell back at him because he yelled at his ex in his relationship. And because Mary said, you know why your wife left you? Not because of coming home late, coming home drunk, but because of your whining and wanting to feel like you're in control. So Clark feels like he's controlling the backrooms area. Okay, yeah, I guess. Then we see the pirate Clark come up, and the pirate Clark kills Clark. Why didn't he kill Clark initially? Why did he save him for that moment? And the pirate Clark just looks stupid. His face looks stupid. He looks goofy. I I was wondering if we were ever going to see the initial monster in the Backrooms YouTube series. But no, it's just this stupid, tall looking Captain Clark, and it looks dumb. He has a stupid looking face. I guess it moves around in a creepy manner, but I don't know, it's just dumb. And then he chases Mary, and yeah, we see more of this weird architecture in the Backrooms area, and it all looks cool and all, but I don't know. I was so clocked out of the film at that point that I just didn't give a shit. And then we see she runs into this cardboard cutout, because throughout the film there are these cardboard cutouts in the Backrooms area where it has this tape playing like greetings in different languages. I don't think we ever heard it in English, which was kind of frustrating. I'm like, okay, what is it saying? What's it trying to say and convey to people who get stuck in the Backrooms area? And then we see these people in these hazmat suits. It's a company that it's been investigating and researching the Backrooms area. They say they made MRI machines, but now they investigate the Backrooms area. And we see that they have captured the Captain Clark copy monster, and they took Mary and they're investigating her, and she's wondering if she's ever gonna get let out. And there's talks about, oh, are they in the real world, because there's windows behind her showing clouds and stuff. But we already saw that there's like this weird cul-de-sac area, and there's paintings of like there's paintings of clouds and stuff. So maybe they're still in the Backrooms area and they've set up a base where they can be safe from the monsters, and they set up all these smoke traps and stuff. Or maybe they're in the real world. We're not sure. And my issue with the ending is that it seems so anticlimactic, and it leaves you with more answers in a frustrating manner. I like being left with answers where you can guess on the film in a fun way. This is more of a frustrating manner because they don't explain anything. They just say, hey, yeah, we're investigating the Backrooms. That's it. Clark does more explanation than a team explaining the Backrooms does. He's saying, oh, it remembers you. And it's saying that he's saying, oh, we can eat the Backrooms monsters or the Backrooms characters. And oh, it remembers you. So that's why there's all these things in here and yada yada. Actually, I don't know if he says it or if the guy interrogating Mary says it. I'm just left with more answers in a frustrating manner because, yeah, I want to know more about the backroom stuff. I felt like 10 more minutes would have done this film wonders, would have left this film in a less anticlimactic manner. 10 minutes of the guy going about his day, walking around, seeing what people are doing in their investigation in the back rooms and stuff. Because all we're left with is just, oh yeah, we're investigating the back rooms. That's it. And that's why I'm frustrated. A lack of answers. A lack of an explanation. Because all it is just, here's the back rooms. Weird stuff's going on. Okay, bye. So yeah, I was very underwhelmed with this movie. It wasn't scary. I can understand why people would say it's scary, but when you see the stuff in the VHS found footage stuff, and then when you see it in a more clear sense, when we're not in the VHS found footage stuff, it loses its oomph because we have less clarity on it, and when we see more clarity on it, yeah, it can seem creepy at first, but then you lose that initial oomph that you see from the VHS stuff. I think the film's too slow. The score doesn't click with me. I remember more of the score from Obsession than I did with Backrooms. Even my first watch of Obsession, I remember more of the score. I don't remember any score from here. The cast does a good job. The film looks good. I like the Foley work in the Backrooms area. I like the production of the film. I just think it's a very underwhelming script. I think it's a very underwhelming feel of the film. I was very underwhelmed. I wish I liked this film more. I wanted to like this movie more. I just couldn't. So, yeah, I'm giving the Backrooms a D+. I didn't like it. I gave it 2-star on Letterboxd. I think I'm just going to drop it down to a 1.5 on Letterboxd. I didn't like this movie. I wasn't scared. I guess I liked the initial setup in the first time we go into the Backrooms in both the found footage and when Clark goes in there by himself. I like those moments because we're shrouded in mystery and then we're supposed to have answers later on. But our answers seem very lackluster and underwhelming, and I just wish this film was better. But you know what? I'm happy for the success. I'm happy that there's a young filmmaker out there who is getting all this praise. I'm happy for Curry Barker for Obsession, and I'm happy for Kane Parsons that he's a young filmmaker breaking out into Hollywood, and he has all the success. The film's made back its budget, God knows how many times, 18 times its budget. I'm so happy for that. But I really wish I liked this film. I wish it was better. I wish I enjoyed it more. I know I'm the odd duck out, but that's how I feel. I didn't like it. Whatever. So, what did you think of the Backrooms? Did you like it? Did you not like it? Tell me what you thought about it in the comments below. I'll be back with more enjoyable content like this. I'm going to review next Star Wars, The Mandalorian Grogu, and I Love Boosters. So, yeah, that's it. Bye.